Welcome back VA user. In today's session, we are going to discuss about the average PO costing method. I'm going to showcase you in an Excel with my some of the transactions and the costing engine status so that you would be able to understand how the system used to calculate the cost. Here the important point is I'm showcasing everything into the primary unit of measurement and the primary currency. I'm considering that all my transactions processed into the primary currency as well as into the primary unit of measurement of the product. And again, I have taken one of the product. So it is common for all the other costing methods I have taken, but in your case, if you are testing it out, you just need to create a different product category and then the different product. Now, in terms of the product category, you just need to link this time costing level as organization while costing method as average PO. Okay. I'm considering that this product is just newly entered and there was no previous stock was available, and hence we are doing the transactions. Now my first transaction, so as I mentioned, it is a new product, or it means at the level of the costing engine, the status is basically my per unit cost is 0 and my on hand quantity is 0, and we are starting up with the transactions into the system. Now my first transaction taken place, that is a purchase order to a vendor where I'm demanding 100 quantities with 27,000 as a price. So we have received that on 4th of April. We have raised the PO on 1st of April. We received on 4th of April. As soon as my GRN gets completed, my status becomes 27,000 per unit cost for 100 quantities at the level of the costing engine. And later we can process the AP invoice. If there would be any difference, you can see I have taken a difference of 500 per unit, but that this difference would be ignored by the system since our costing method says it is average PO. It means the prices has to be taken from the PO. Again, I just want to remind you that I'm considering that this price is into the primary currency, this unit quantity is into the primary unit of measurement of the product, and hence uh, and based on that, I'm just calculating the cost. In case if you are utilizing a converted unit of measurement or a different currency, then the conversions needs to be considered to calculate the cost. Okay, so here let's move on, and as I have mentioned that soon my material receipts gets completed, the system updates my status, and my status on 4th of April becomes basically 27,000 per unit cost for 100 quantities. And later I've entered my AP invoices. If there is any difference in the AP invoices, that would be ignored by the system. Okay, so that's basically the AP invoices. And later on I did my sales just considering my margin. So my sale price for the customer is 35,000 and I have the sales order of 50 quantities. So we are going to sell it out, and on 5th of April I'm doing the delivery. So my delivery is happening for the 50 quantities, it is 27,000. So because since my cost is 27,000, my COGS would be entered with 27,000 as 27,000 multiplied by 50 as debited, and the same value would get credited for the inventory account. So that as soon as my delivery order gets completed, you would be able to see the system did the changes into the cost, but there is no change into the cost. Instead, there is a change into the quantity. So my quantities becomes 50 and my cost remains 27,000. And thereafter I just raise the AR invoice and my receivable gets debited. And then again I have generated a purchase order on 5th of April and demanding for 100 quantities with 26,000 per unit. So you would be able to see my 26,000. Previous one was 27,000. Now I'm receiving, or I'm placing a new purchase order with 26,000 since my vendor says that the prices of same product gets reduced maybe. And thereafter I'm receiving the same material on 6th of April. Now you would be able to see as soon as it gets completed, my cost status becomes 26,500 on 6th of April. Now how this calculation happens for the average PO? Now my first total purchase was 27,100, so it means it will consider this value, that is 27,000 multiplied by 100, 27,000 multiplied by 100, and my new quantities that is coming in was weighted average PO, so it is going to be 100 into 26,000, that is equal to this value. Then initial purchases of 100 quantities, and now the next purchases of 100 quantities. Will total this out, and now if I will do my cost calculation, so it is this divided by this value, that becomes 26,500, and here the cost updated by the VA system as 26,500 into the costing engine. Okay, so that becomes the cost, and later on if I will receive a certain difference here into the AP invoice, the system will ignore that difference since the method says it is average PO. And as I have mentioned that the average PO will accumulate all the total price and all the quantities since we have purchased. So it doesn't mean if something is sold out, that need not to consider. It will consider those values as well. But in case of the weighted average PO, it will only consider the available stock and the incoming stock, and based on that, the system calculates the cost. So that is what the difference between weighted average PO and weighted average PO and average PO. And the similar kind of difference is there with weighted average cost and average invoice. Between these two, weighted average cost and weighted average PO, the difference is pretty simple. The prices for weighted average PO to be considered from the purchase order, while for the invoices we need, while for the weighted average cost, the prices needs to be considered from the invoice, and so on for the average invoice and average PO. So that's all in this particular video, and I hope that you would be able to learn that how the system is calculating the average PO into the system. In case if you have any kind of doubt, write up certain comments. We have already entered our email address at our channel. You would be able to figure out. You can send us even the mails. And if you figure out that this video is useful for you, I would request you to subscribe our channel and share this video to your colleagues as well. Till then, thanks a lot. Bye bye.